I've had so many requests for a review of this vehicle right here. It's the updated LDV D90, a family-friendly, budget-friendly 7-seat large SUV with plenty of space. This has seen some significant changes, including a complete exterior redesign. The interior has been rethought, and it does have no diesel engine anymore. Turbo petrol all the way for this updated D90. I'll tell you what it's like to drive, the best alternatives, and much more in this review. So thanks for subscribing, and let's get to it. There are 3 different versions available of the LDV D90, and you'll see some pricing come up on your screen, including ABN pricing. Now, for those outside of Australia, that's Australian business number pricing, which is discounted compared to the retail pricing. It's all drive-away prices that I've listed here, so just keep that in mind. Now, the entry-level version is called Mode. It's a rear-wheel drive petrol turbo model with 7 seats, and it comes comprehensively equipped for the cash, just like this high-grade model, including things like new LED lighting around the outside of the vehicle. We're getting alloy wheels, you've got keyless entry and push-button start. There's also a set of side steps, roof rails, synthetic leather seats on the inside, an 8-speaker sound system, 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, 12.3-inch touchscreen media system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and an integrated dash cam as well as standard, which is really decent tech. Plenty of USB usability on the inside too. And then if you step up from there into the executive, which is this version here, it's available in 2 different versions essentially. So you've got a rear-wheel drive one or a 4-wheel drive, which is this one here. It's the most expensive, and the 4-wheel drive does tick the price up quite a bit, but it does get some extra features. Now, the executive as standard comes with some really good stuff, including a sunroof, rear privacy glass, ambient lighting, a heated steering wheel, and height and reach adjustable steering column. There's also an auto-dimming rear vision mirror, a power tailgate, dual wireless charging pads, power adjustable driver's seat with lumbar adjust, and if you choose the 4-wheel drive executive model, you get 4-wheel drive, a center and rear differential lock, and off-road terrain modes. So are any of those going to suit your needs and your budget? Well, let me give you some alternatives to think about as well. You've got plenty of choice if you're looking for a budget-friendly 7-seater family SUV right now. And there's more coming, including the MG QS, which looks amazing. It's a fair bit smaller than this vehicle, and I've liked lots of the other MGs up to this point of the new generation model lineup. So that one could be worth waiting for. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. You'll be notified when I get a chance to do a review of it and tell you all about it, including the fact that it comes with a 10-year warranty, which might be all you really need to know. But if you are looking for an established player in the market, well, there are some good options out there, including the KGM SsangYong Rexton. Now, the Rexton is a diesel-powered 7-seater with 4-wheel drive underpinnings, 3.5-ton towing capacity, and plenty of family-friendly features. It starts at around 50 grand drive away, up to around 60, so it does ask a little more of your wallet, but it's a very impressive vehicle in a lot of ways and an established brand in its own right too. If you are willing to roll the dice on something from a newer brand, you might want to have a look at the Chery Tiggo 8 Pro Max. Now, it's a 7-seater on a budget, starts at around the $42,000 mark, turbo petrol, front or all-wheel drive available, a practical size and a little bit smaller than this, so more parking friendly as well, so it could be a great choice if you're looking for something a little bit more diminutive in terms of overall size. And if you're looking for something diminutive on budget terms, have a look at the Mahindra XUV 700. It could be a great one. It's one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest, 7-seat model in the market right now. There's a couple of different versions available, and it now comes with a black interior option too, so it could be a fantastic choice for you and your needs. Would you pick any of those or something else? Hit me up in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, let's have a look at this redesigned front end first and foremost. It does look a lot more sophisticated and modern compared to the existing model. Now, I didn't mind the existing D90. I thought it was still a pretty handsome piece of machinery. This one does take things up a notch though, and it looks a bit more contemporary, let's say. Now, I'm going to put some dimensions on your screen so you can see for yourself. It is not a small vehicle, people, more than 5 meters long. So if you are a nervous driver, it might be a bit much in terms of the amount of car that you have to handle, but it's on a long wheelbase, so we'll get to what that means in terms of the ride comfort. This one is the 4-wheel drive model, and it does have pretty good ground clearance no matter whether you choose this one or the other models. 246 millimeters, that is pretty handy, I would say. And if you're wondering about towing capacity, all versions have a unbraked towing capacity of 750 kilos, and you can tow up to 3 tons braked towing if you are looking for something with that kind of capability. Now, this doesn't have a tow bar, this particular one, so no towing test as part of this review, but I want to also call out the fact that here you don't have the triangulated badge thing on the back. You've got an LDV text badge, which is different in its own right. Now let's have a look in the boot. This one does have the electric tailgate, and it's got, well, a decent amount of space behind those 3rd row seats. You'll see the number on your screen now. That is going to be backpack friendly. There's enough space in there to fit a few backpacks behind the seat, and you've also got some handy inclusions like little shopping bag hooks, and that's on both sides, a 12-volt port and a light as well, so that's pretty nice to see. And underneath here there's a little bit of storage for your jack and a fire extinguisher, which isn't there in this particular car. And underneath the boot floor you'll also find a full-size spare wheel with a matching tire diameter, but it's not a matching alloy wheel, so it's a steely. Now let's have a look at what it looks like when we fold down these seats. They do have quick release tabs, so you can lift it up there and push the seat down, and that means you've still got tabs to pull them up with, which is pretty handy. And the amount of space, as you'll see, is generous when you do fold those seats down. So if you're going to run this as a 5-seater, you're going to have heaps and heaps of cargo capacity. Like, I'm talking sort of the same sort of level as a Nissan Patrol in terms of the overall usability of the boot space if you fold those seats down. But let me show you the interior. There's a bit to talk about in there too. If you've seen my earlier review of the LDV D90, you won't recognize this interior compared to it because it has seen significant changes, and it does have the benefit of feeling a lot more upmarket and a lot more modern as a result of those changes. So let's run through it, shall we? Firstly, twin 12.3-inch screens. You've got a 12.3-inch touchscreen media system for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity. Yep, it works pretty well. I've got my phone plugged in for it, no wireless, so that's something else to consider. And if I go back to the LDV screen, you'll see that you can go on here to turn on your headlamps, put them on auto if you want. There is no stalk for your lamps. You've got rear fog lamp as well. You can adjust whether you want auto hold on or off there. And over here, you've got more controls as well. So you can jump into Bluetooth if you want to do that. You can go into your climate control system through that screen, but you don't have to do it all on the screen, which is a bonus in my mind. So let me just turn on the fan and show you. You've got adjustability there, so you can make things as you wish there. And you've even got rear temperature control as well that you can control from up front. But there's a set of switches down below here. So you've got a toggle switch for your fan control and your temperature control. As well as that, you've got a couple of demister buttons there, your hazard switch there, auto mode for your air conditioning is that one there. No recirc button down there though, so that's maybe a bit of a disappointment. And there's also a home button, so you can quickly jump back into the home screen if you want to. One thing that might be a little bit strange about this car is if you are listening to the radio, if you want it to actually come through, you have to press play, which is a bit weird. It's not like you're play and pausing someone live in action, but that's the reality here. There's also some other elements in here, like you can plug in a USB and have a display on screen for some photos if you want to. You can drag down on the top of the screen as I showed you there. It's pretty responsive with a couple of quick adjustments here. If you want to turn off your lane keeping, you can do that there. Your speed limit warning system, that's switch offable there too if you want to. You've got auto high beam if you want that on or off as well. So that's pretty neat, I would say. And this screen more generally is pretty easy to get your head around. I like it for the most part. I think that it doesn't take a whole lot of thinking, and I like that about it. You've got your user manual on screen as well. And here you'll find you've got a digital video recording system. So it's a dash cam built in to this thing. If you want to use it, you can even take a photo. You've also got video recording if you want to quickly go into that and record what's going on around you for whatever reason. Now, there's settings for that as well. You can even set it up so that it will be always recording in 1080 or 720, and that's a nice thing to have. It might even affect your insurance costs, which is a nice thing to remember as well. Now, let's have a look at this screen here. It's another 12.3 inch display with digital instrumentation. So you've got digital speedo, your tacho on that side. So you do have a bit of information on this screen, as you can see there. And yeah, you've got tire pressure monitoring as well, which is a nice bonus. You've got until your next service distance, which is good. And you can even go through your sources if you want to adjust your media system and Bluetooth. And also, if it works, go back, it's a bit laggy. Yeah, your safety technology display there. So it's not a very comprehensive one, but it changes when you put it on cruise control. So yeah, there's a bit of info there. It's just a little bit fiddly. Now, you've also got a steering wheel heating button there, which is nice. You've got controls for your media on this side and phone calls. You've got a voice control system. It doesn't really work that well. And you've got cruise controls on this side. You've got paddle shifters. Nice thing to see. On this side, you'll find you've got a wiper and blinker switch. If you want to use the rear wiper, it's the end button, and you can press it and hold it to do a big squirt, and just hold it a little bit in if you just want it to wipe. Sorry, that sounded so gross. And you've also got your gear selector on this side, and yep, park button at the end. So just press it in if you want to put it in park. Now, down here, you'll find you've got a little storage cubby. There are bottle holders in the doors. You've got your fuel filler flap controller there, ambient lights as well, and a pretty interesting carbon looky finish. Up here you'll find a sunglasses holder on the driver's side. No grab handle though. You do get a grab handle for hiking yourself in. You've got illuminated vanity mirrors, and these don't pull across, so that's maybe a little bit disappointing, but you get a ticket holder there. Auto dimming rear vision mirror, that's good to see. You've got a sunroof in this version. It opens if you want it to. Another vanity mirror over there, and I think generally the design of this part of the area is pretty good, and it gets even better when you consider that you've got dual wireless phone charging pads. This is the four-wheel drive model, so it's got a host of four-wheel drive controls. As you can see, it's a bit shiny here, but you've got a center and rear differential lock, and you've got four-wheel drive high range control there as well, and you've got drive mode adjustment there too, electronic park brake, pair of cup holders between the seats, and another section for more storage in there, which is a decent size. And there's another little storage tray in here. You can close that up if you want to, and underneath there you've got another storage section with some charge ports as well, so that's pretty handy if you are looking to keep things tidy. As you can see, there's a little channel that runs through there, and it means that you can not have messy cables everywhere. Now, in front of the passenger, there's a grab handle to hold on to if you're off-roading, and here you've also got a decent sized glove box with owner's manual if you want it anyway. Bottle holders, as I said, ambient lights. The seats are pretty comfortable, I have to say, and they do have a nice fake leather finish to them. And look, I really like these chunky vents too. I think they look really, really good. But usability in here, very impressive, I would say. So let's jump into the second row and see what the space is like. Rightio, this seat is set for my driving position, and I've got quite a bit of space in front of myself here. Lots of knee room, a decent amount of foot room, and it's a relatively flat floor for a vehicle like this. Headroom is the big thing here. Lots and lots of headroom. You've got some handles in the back. There are hooks for your coat. There's overhead vents, and you get a light up there too. Now, you've also got some really good controls down here. So as you can see right here, there is a fan controller and temperature controller. So if you want to adjust things for those riding up the back, you can easily do that from the second row. That's a nice bonus. And there's a really, really good bonus back here as well. Let me just pop this open. You've got a power point in there, an international power point, and you've also got some USB ports for charging. So you should be able to keep everyone pretty bloody happy in the back of this vehicle. In the second row, you'll get ISOFIX points and 3 top tethers, which is a nice bonus. So if you do have kiddos, you will be able to fit, I would say, 3 child seats across the back here. It's pretty accommodating in terms of the width. If you don't want to fit a seat in the middle, you can fold down the middle armrest and you've got cup holders, which is a nice bonus. And there's another nice bonus I want to talk about. These seats, you can slide them. So it's a 60-40 setup and you can make it more comfortable for those in the very back row if you want to. And it does offer a fair amount of space and accommodation. So let me actually just jump into the third row and see what we are working with. Okay, so you've got a lever down there to fold just the seat back forward, or this one up here, which allows you to tilt and slide that seat forward. So getting into the back shouldn't be too difficult, although the seat belt might get in the way. You can click it in like so to stop yourself from tripping over it as you get in. Side steps on all grades, remember. So let me jump in the back, see what it's like. All right, now this could be the big thing about the D90. It is big and it has heaps more space than lots of the other 7-seat SUVs in this segment. Now you can see I've still got a little bit of knee room here. Toe room is tight, but I mean, for those who are going to use this with adults in the back, it's going to have enough space, I would say, because look at that headroom. The seats are, well, they're flat, but at least you've got a bit of adjustability here, and you do have that adjustability of this row of seats to make it more comfortable for those back here. It is a fairly accommodating thing, that's for sure. So you've also got a cup holder on each side, a USB port back there too, and yeah, you can clip those seat belts out of the way if you want to too. Now the biggest thing, I guess, is that there are no top tethers or ISOFIX points for these third row seats, and that might be something that gets on your nerves and makes it a little bit less practical than it otherwise might have been. But with a light in the back and space in the back and vents in the back and a good view out, it does seem like a reasonable option for those who are looking for a large 7-seater with enough space back in the third row for grown-ups like me. Under the bonnet of the updated LDV D90 is a 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. That's right, the diesel is done. There is no diesel anymore. This one has 184 kilowatts of power, 410 Newton meters of torque. It's got a very different driving characteristic because of the lack of a diesel engine compared to the previous model, but it does a pretty good job. We'll get to that in a sec. It's got an 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission, and it's got 4-wheel drive on offer in this top spec version, but the entry-level versions are rear-wheel drive exclusively. So let's go drive this top spec one and see what it's like. Okay, so the drive experience. Well, I'm starting off on the freeway to give you an idea that this car, well, it does have some considerations when it comes to higher speed cruising, not so much to do with the powertrain or the ride or anything like that, but just because of the noise. So there is quite a lot of wind rush around the mirrors and around the pillars of the windscreen, and there's also that bing, bing, bing that's telling me that my lane discipline is not what it expects I should be. Just switch that off and hey, it'll be gone away forever. And there's also a button there on the screen to turn off the speed limit prompt. And if you live in a place like I do, where there are lots and lots of speed limit changes, thankfully, when you switch it off on the screen, it stays off. That's a nice bonus in my mind. And just generally, the safety integration is not too bad. I don't think it's perfect. The adaptive cruise control is a little bit finicky in terms of like not necessarily leaving the right amount of gap and being a little bit too assertive at times when it's adjusting the controls in terms of accelerating and braking for you. But at least it's got it, and it does make a difference to the cruisability of it and the highway commuting factor if you are going to be doing that in your D90. Now, this more generally is a different experience to the diesel model. You can probably hear the transmission is a busy one. It does shift gears a lot to try and maintain pace. Yep, that's 5th gear going up this hill, where most other cars would probably sit in 6th or 7th. But Look, I think it's okay in terms of the powertrain. It's not terrific, and when you go into more urban and suburban areas like I'm in right now, you might find that the engine and transmission, they are pretty responsive, but again, the transmission's a bit busy. It does tend to have a bit of a overactive nature at times. It's not terrible, you get used to it. It might also depend on how you drive it. Like if you're a bit lighter on the throttle, you might notice it a little bit more. If you tend to be a lead foot, it might actually hold the gears better. And there is a manual mode if you want to take matters into your own hands, with paddle shifters if you want to do that as well. So yeah, those elements do stack up okay. And more generally, the drive experience is okay in most ways, I would say. Like the steering is light, it's a bit lacking in terms of directness. It just sort of has a bit of a lagginess when you do turn corners, but I think it's perfectly acceptable for this type of vehicle. That also will come down to the tires that are fitted to a degree. It does have GT tires. They are not my favorite tires, but I mean, once it comes time to switch them out, you could get some better rubber, and that might improve the general handling. And the way that it corners, I mean, it's no masterclass, but it does a pretty good job. And the body control is pretty good as well. And more generally, I'm pretty impressed, I have to say, with the ride comfort. It does do a good job of handling things when you go over bumps like that, like little speed hump crossing thing, perfectly fine. And over bumpy road surfaces, it's pretty good too. So the ride comfort, well, it nails it. The steerability, it's surprisingly easy to drive this car around town. You do have to pay attention to the responsiveness of the steering, but it's easy enough to park. The biggest issue, I think, with this vehicle for urban people who do a lot of parking in different situations, no surround view camera is a real letdown for this vehicle. It does have a reversing camera, but it should have a surround view camera. It's 2025, it's a big SUV for a family. Yeah, that would be advantageous if it were to be added at some point in the future. Hopefully it will be. There's one other thing that I don't like about this car. It's the brake pedal feel. Now, it does respond pretty well when you stamp on the brakes, but you sort of do have to stamp on them because it's got this sort of dead patch at the top of the pedal, so it doesn't really feel as responsive as you might appreciate. Now, this is the four-wheel drive version. It doesn't have low range transfer case, but it does have four-wheel drive auto mode. So essentially, the car will do some thinking for you. And if it finds that there's a lack of traction, it can diversify between the front and rear axles and give you what you should be getting if you are in a slippery situation. Then there's the locked high range mode as well. And well, that's for more serious rough roading. The other big consideration with a petrol large SUV like this is always going to be fuel consumption. There are some numbers you need to know. So I'll put the fuel consumption figure for the rear wheel drive and four wheel drive models on your screen now. And yeah, that might be ambitious, I would say. If you're wondering what I've seen across my testing in this vehicle, you'll see the number on screen now. That was a mix of this sort of stuff, urban highway, commuting, freeway, the same sort of stuff that you'll probably end up doing with your D90. So you can probably expect to see a similar-ish number, I would suggest. You also need to keep in mind that the fuel tank capacity is decent, but it might cost you a bit to fill it up because it needs 95 RON premium unleaded petrol, so that could add up in terms of the running costs. Now, there's a few more running costs that you need to consider in a couple of segments' time. There's no NCAP rating for this updated version of the LDV D90, but it gets a whole host of standard equipment in terms of technology on offer in this model lineup, including autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. There's advanced cruise control with lane keeping assistance as well. There's blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. Sadly, only a reversing camera, even in the top spec version, but you do get parking sensors around the vehicle as well. I reckon that the reversing camera situation is probably a bit of a downer compared to lots of the other rivals out there. And also you do get a speed sign recognition system. Thankfully, it doesn't seem too annoying. Maybe it will get on your nerves a little bit as time goes on, but it doesn't have a driver monitoring camera system. And for me, That's a big thumbs up. When it comes to the airbags, there are 6 fitted. You've got dual front side, and curtain coverage that goes all the way to the very back. Now, it doesn't have a front center airbag like lots of other new cars, and if it's crash tested, that might affect its score. But hey, I think it stacks up pretty well. Thankfully, it's not going to give you the shits. In Australia, LDV offers a 7-year, 200,000k warranty for the D90, and that is pretty promising, I would say. Now, you also get 5 years of roadside assistance included at no cost, which is a nice bonus in its own right. And when it comes to your servicing, well, there's an initial service that you need to do, then you'll see the service intervals on your screen beyond that. Also, you need to keep in mind that there is no capped price servicing available for this vehicle, and that might factor into your considerations if you're working on a tight budget. You want to know what it's going to cost to run, because there is no surety on that. But talk to your dealer. I'm sure they'll be able to give you a pretty good idea of what to expect in terms of the maintenance costs, at least over the first few years. So it's definitely worth talking to the dealership and seeing what it might cost, I reckon. This updated D90 is a big improvement over its predecessor, with a better look on the outside, a nicer interior with much more tech, and that turbo-petrol engine is pretty good for this vehicle too. The fuel consumption is obviously going to be a consideration, and there are some really good competitors in this segment on value terms, but what would you do? Would you choose a D90 or one of those alternatives I mentioned earlier? Have your say in the comments. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you when I see you.